I'm Travis Hendrick with Family Business Institute, where we build better contractors. I'm really passionate about people, and I want to help our membership try to attract the right talent for your company. I know a lot of construction companies have been told about the importance of social media for years now, and a lot of our contractors are actually starting to increase their footprint on social media and starting to see the results of not only increase on the sales side, but in the attraction of talent, right? And it's an opportunity where social media is working for you 24/7, 365, telling your history, telling your story, giving an insight into what it's like to work at your business for prospective employees. Well, today there's a second component to that, and it's on job ads and job openings. And I believe that there's two key ways where people kind of engage with your company and look for opportunities. One's through the social media, and then they start to look at your website for opening roles, and something that they can apply for if they're excited about what the company has to offer. And then there's the other side where they may be job seekers, and they may be people that are just keeping attuned of what's available in the market for their career. And so they come across a job ad or a job opening first. And then if they're interested enough, they may go to social media or go to your websites to learn more about your business. And what I'm noticing with a lot of the clients that I work with is that we're trying to take the job ad opening and the job description, we're trying to make that one document. And those should actually be two separate documents, right? You think about when you're selling to a client, you're selling a job. You have the proposal, which is much more of a marketing document. It's much more polished. It's a sales approach. You're trying to put your best foot forward to land the project. And then after that, you end up getting the contract, right? Which is much more formal, much more dry, but it sets the expectations between the agreement. And that's how we view job ads and job openings versus job descriptions. The job ad and the job opening should be more of a sales pitch. Now we're just selling to a different person. We're selling to a prospective employee, right? Not a client. We're selling to the employee, and then once we land the employee and they come on board, then we get into more of the formal job description that has a lot of the tasks. So what I want to talk about today is more like, how do you build a good job ad or a good job opening that's going to create excitement and some buzz? And I think there's about 5 different components that will lead to a successful job opening ad. So the first one is has to be an intro. You have to do what social media does. You have to be able to provide a history of the company. You got to give them an insight into the culture, your core values, your vision, where you're going. You're trying to create this excitement as they're starting to read through this potential job that they may be applying for, right? And the last part of that introduction has to be on the opportunity, and the opportunity rests with the company. If you want to be a differentiator, you need to be able to show that you want the opportunity to prove yourself to any prospective employee that you are the right company for them to invest their time in the career in. And it'll just sets the tone for the rest of the job opening and building that excitement for them to want to apply to your job, knowing that they understand that you have an obligation in trying to make this a successful transition for them. So after you move on from that introduction, we get into key accountabilities, and there's 2 different things. Typically what you see is these task-oriented job descriptions. That's what I call the have-tos, right? The things you have to do when you're in a role. So for example, a project manager may have to do time cards on a daily basis or a weekly basis, turn them in on Friday for their crews and have their productions and stuff for the week. They may have to do submittal logs. They may have to reply to RFIs in a certain time frame. They may have to stay up to date on their change order logs. There are all of these tasks that they have to do, but if you were to ask a project manager, what excites you about your role, none of those things make the list, right? The things that make the list are the items are, I get to do this, right? And that's what the job opening needs to show. It needs to show that I get to build, high quality projects. I get to build them safely. I get to network in the community. I get to build relationships with customers, with trade partners, with architects and designers. I get to be a leader and a mentor and a coach to the next generation below me. And also I get to be innovative. I get to be a creative problem solver. Those are the types of things that you want to put in these job ads that kind of define what this role is and what those key accountabilities are to kind of keep them excited. I think the third component is core competencies, right? These are the competencies that you've identified as a company that any candidate would need to be strong in to be really successful in this role. And those can be converted over into a job description and will be used in evaluating, the success of the employee once they've started and they started working within the company. So I think it's really key that those are defined. The fourth thing is a salary. I'm big on exposing the salary, and I'm big on making sure that we're aligning the salary with the type of talent that we're trying to acquire. I know some people like to have the flexibility of ranges. I say if you're going to have a range, I'd keep it pretty short, pretty tight. Any range that says, for example, a superintendent, $70,000 to $100,000, that tells me that the company doesn't quite know who they're trying to attract and what position they're trying to attract, because there's a big difference between paying somebody $70,000 and paying them $100,000. And you and I both know that if you put a range in there, every candidate thinks they're worth the top. So just know if you're going to bring them in and then you're going to start them lower, there's going to be some level of disappointment right out of the chutes, which I don't think anybody wants in this new arrangement, okay? But you got to have salary and stay away from competitive. Competitive salary to most people just means kind of average. It's the same as what they could find in the market. That's not what you want to portray to any candidate that's going to come to work for you, okay? And then the last one is kind of easing up on requirements. I've been in the industry over 20 years. Some of the brightest project managers that I've ever been around have been people that have been project managers for 2 years, 2 years, 3 years. Really savvy people, understand the value of relationships, understand the value of communication, of documentation. They get owners that are eating out of their hands. The architects and designers love them. Trade partners love them. Schedule is maintained. Project sites clean and organized. Right? I mean, you can see some of these people at 2 and 3 years. You're like, these are some of the best project managers that I've ever worked with. So, I know when we're looking at a senior project manager, a lot of times we see, 10 plus years of project management. I just wouldn't restrict the candidates who potentially could apply to the company. I want every opportunity to sit down and discuss with you what we have going on at our company, tell you our story, what it's like to work here. And the opportunity may not be today for that person. It may be in a little bit different role, or it could be 2 years down the road. But I don't want to limit the people that I get to sit in front of to tell about how great our company is and is to work for. And lastly, make sure that in that job description, or that job opening, you're using the term you instead of the general superintendent. The project manager will be responsible. Say you. Make it seem like you're talking directly to the person that's reading that document, so they just feel like the intention is completely on them and they can see themselves in the role, okay? So I'll leave you with, take this as an exercise. Go back. Take a look at your current job openings. Read them as a prospective employee, not as an owner, an executive, or a senior manager looking to fill a position. And see if when you read that, if it's eliciting responses that you want candidates who are reading that to feel, whether that's excitement, energy, buzz around that role. And if you're not getting those, they're not either, it's probably time to revise those and repost. So that's it for the job opening ads. I hope that helps you guys out. One more plug for our boot camps. They're filling up multiple cities. If you're interested, please reach out to Charlotte. Again, I'm Travis Hendrick with Family Business Institute, where we build better contractors.